Because there could be challenges to be like, I just need to push harder to push through this, when it could be a little quick reset might help you push harder. So how do we even know?
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. I think you, first of all, because you really have to be in tune with yourself, so I know the indicators for me if I'm kind of snappy. Even I get snappy with the dog sometimes, and I love that dog, right? So if you're feeling a little sharp, a little spicy and snappy, for me, that's an indicator.
Welcome back to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. I got my friend Matt Benelli with me again, and I have an amazingly dear friend in my world. Tona Restine is with us today. Tona, good morning.
Gosh, good morning. How are you guys?
Oh my goodness. I'm so grateful that we're getting to share some time together. Tona and I go back here a little bit. We got some great memories and friendships, and Matt, you're involved in this too. You do too with Tona. And we're going to have some fun today as we get this launched. As you're listening to this episode, if there's things that you're like, I like where this is all going, I like what these guys have to offer. If this is your first time, or maybe you've listened to us for a long time, and you want to get more of what we got going on in our world, go check us out at our app online, Life at 10 Tenths. Go grab that. You'll get more information from us. You get access into more episodes. But with that being said, Tona, I want to jump right in with you. So we go back. We met through coaching. You came into my coaching program, and we brought you in here. I mean, gosh, what year was that? Now that I think back onto it. I was going to say, it was right before all the craziness happened out there. We had a good solid year, I think, before all that happened to getting you all established. But you have been such an amazing energy and just love in our household. The way your name gets mentioned around our house is just with pure love and gratitude, which I think says a lot about who you are. And that's why I'm so grateful to share you with all of our listeners here. So just to kind of put it into a nutshell, what we're going to talk about today is intentional reset strategies. Tona has some strategies that she has built in her life and she has brought into her world to make sure that she can operate at the highest level she possibly can and bring all that great energy that makes us talk about her in our household the way that we do. And so, Tona, let's get going here. Thank you so much. And let's get a little bit of your background. How did you get to where you are today? You didn't just step into real estate and step into this world. You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. You do the math. I got my real estate license in 1997. So, way back, even really before, the World Wide Web was a thing, it was just a very different business. And I loved it from the moment I started it. I was that duck taking to water when I got my license. I loved everything about it. Still do. I still do. So I had a very sweet real estate practice down on the Central Coast in California. And I was lucky enough, I chose a brokerage that had this high commitment and high passion for training. And the owner of the brokerage, she's the only broker I ever had. She ended up just taking me under her wing, loving me, teaching me, mentoring me, and I soaked it up like a sponge. So fast forward a few years later, she was starting an operation in Bend, Oregon, and she by then had sold her brokerage but kept me. She always said I was her chattel. She just kept me. And we went into Bend, Oregon, and that was in 2006. We took all of our good California real estate money and plunked it into the Bend, Oregon real estate market. And then, right, it was wonderful. And then in 2008, the world changed a little bit and I was scared to death. And she came in, she plunked down at my desk and she said, "You're scared. I know you are." And I said, "Yeah, I'm really scared." And she goes, "I'm going to think of something." She's that entrepreneurial mind. She goes, "Don't be scared. I'm going to think of something." And I'm like, okay. And we had a beautiful little boutique office and I was managing every little thing. And she came in and she goes, do you think you can still sell real estate? And I'm like, well, Lord, I hope so. She goes, well, go get a new picture. We're going to start selling real estate differently. And we're going to get through this 2008 situation. And that's what we did. We put together a short sale model where we loved people through it. I don't know any other way to say it. And she had a beautiful property management company, which Kevin Restine, my husband, was managing. And we created a platform where we preserved their dignity as they were walking through this short sale experience, and stayed with us, put them under our wing, put them in our rentals. And then, a couple of years later, after things turned around, they were our real estate clients for life, and we loved them, and they loved us. And it was, without a doubt, the purest form of people work, ministry work I've ever done in my life. And
couple things here. And I know Matt, because Matt and I were both writing things down as you're sitting here talking, which is why I love hanging out with you, Tona. So as I want to just compliment you on the people you surround yourself with, because when the times are tough, it is amazing at who comes into your world to say, one, who can acknowledge that you're scared, who knows you at a level to be like, I know who you are and I know where you're at right now. But then to say, we're going to get through this and I'm going to come up with something, like those are your ride and die people. Those are the ones, like when you say, like there's all these things online right now, like who could you call at 3 a.m. and they would just show up at your house with a shovel and like, who do we need to bury? Like, what do we got going on? I saw that the other day. I'm like, I wonder who would be that in my world.
Yeah.
But
you guys are that to me, by the way. I thought about this all morning long. I know. Regardless of the need, if I needed it, I could call you too. And that means everything to me.
It's important to have those people in your life. And that's why I love this story about you and the short sale side. And this is, I know Matt, I think, has a question on this because you went down a whole piece there, but that, having those people in your world, absolutely amazing. And if anybody's listening to this, find those people and bring them in, and don't take them for granted. They're ones that will take you through the tough times.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Tona, there's so many great things about you. You're one of my favorite people in the world, as you know.
Thank you, Mel.
You said here you came up with this strategy and you loved people through it, which I think is I'm like, oh, like that right there, which is just kind of embodies the way you approach strategy with people overall. And I know we're going to talk about this intentional reset strategy, but I want to get your opinion because as the industry continues to move faster and faster, trying to catch up with every other industry at how fast they're moving, I think a lot of times we see the love escaping from the deals, the transactions. It just becomes all about how do we just do this, and this, right? And particularly when people are looking for those, I need to make money fast strategies, they're not thinking about infusing the love into how they operate their business. And so how have you seen that? Because you've now coached an abundant of real estate agents who, I mean, I remember when you came on and working under Garrett, and we were colleagues there, and like it was just like takeoff, and everybody had all these wonderful things to say about working with you, and their businesses were on fire. And I had a few people that I had the pleasure of speaking with because they were also engaged in my other business. And they were like, man, Tona's just so amazing. She's just gotten me to be able to focus on loving on my people, and it's done wonders for my business. So can you talk about the strategy of loving on your people and how that turns into an incredible business model?
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. I mean, it's probably who I was when I was 10 years old in pigtails. I love people. I love them, and I can't stand to see them hurting. And if I have an avenue to help them get right-sided again, I want to take it. And that was that model that we put together for this short sale program. If you go back in history to 2008, people who'd never been laid on a mortgage at all, right? People with excellent credit, people who took pride in that piece of their life. Their loans were adjusting, and suddenly the payments were almost impossible to make. And they were broken, and they were scared, and they didn't know what to do. And we created this peaceful place for them to be honest. I mean, we had developers sitting at my desk weeping. And I remember one day, I did not know how to make this gentleman stop weeping. And finally, I just called Tona Restine, who was at the property management office. And I said, you got to come help me with this guy, because he needs someone bigger, better, different than my voice. So Kevin came over there. We sat down. We ended up selling, honest to Pete, I think we sold 15 properties for this man. He stayed in our world. We're friends with him to this day, gave our son a job years later, and he got through it. We all just hung on, joined arms, and got through it. And it was a very pure business based on, respect, integrity, and just that faith that things will turn around again. We just got to figure out how to hold on long enough. And that's what we did. Yeah. And then we bought, then this same business partner, this entrepreneurial, her name is Lonnie Hunter. She has spent time even since then as the president of the Oregon Real Estate Agency. I mean, she's kind of a big deal. She came in, we made it through that. And I'm like, oh my Lord, I want to rest. She's like, I don't think we should rest. I'm like, you don't? This is the same gal that bought a Keller Williams franchise one time, right before my eyes. And she says, no, I don't think we should rest. Let's do one more big thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, what? She said, let's buy a little real estate franchise. Let's build it up big. And I'm like, all right. And she goes, I want you to run it. You run it totally. And I'm going to go to Kazakhstan and teach business to women. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what we did. That's exactly.
Buy this. You're going to go run this. And by the way, I'm just going to go travel around. I'm going to go
that's
halfway.
Exactly what we did.
The opposite side of the world.
And so we went along and we had the best time. We put this goal together to grow it to 75 agents. That was a number that made sense in our mind. That's exactly what we did. And then in 2014, she was vacationing in the Caribbean, and she had a massive stroke. And her stroke became mine and Kevin's wake-up call to sort of change the velocity of our lifestyle. And she was out for over a year, getting better. And she then, after that, went on to become the Oregon Real Estate Agency president. She's remarkable, and we're beloved friends to this day. But in 2016, it was time for Kevin and I, to sell our homes in Oregon. And we sold our beautiful Windermere company, and we moved to Texas. And then 3 weeks before we got here, on our great adventure, I got diagnosed with lymphoma. And I had one whole year to rest and to think and to figure out what was next for me. We were in our mid-50s at the time, and that's what I did. And ended up, we had been with, Larry Kendall, and I knew him personally, and he said, why aren't you working, with us? I'm like, I don't know. And so that's when I met Garrett, and, the rest is history.
Well, so when you came into my life, and we're naturally going to make this transition over here to these intentional reset strategy piece that we're going to talk about here. But that's where you came into my life, and it was the craziest thing, Tona. I remember it so well because I had a crazy process people had to go through to become a coach. We used to call it the gauntlet, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't fun. It was a lot of work. But it also weeded out a lot of people. It really made sure that we had incredible coaches coming in. And I remember you going through the process, and you said to me, you were so sweet. And I said to you, I said, I'm not sure I can move forward with you, Tona. I don't know if you can be tough enough. I said, you're so nice. I said, you know how to coach. You know all these systems. You know all this stuff like backwards and forwards. I said, but I don't know if you can be like really tough when it comes down to it. And I'm going to swear on the podcast here, so just preparing everybody. But Tona says to me, she goes, well, Garrett, she goes, that's the gift of me. She goes, I can be so nice and so sweet. She goes, and then I'm not. And she goes, I can say shit. I can say fuck. And I was like, and you're hired as a coach. I'm like, like I come into my world. And that's how we started. And that this goes back, I think, to what you were talking about. And this where we went down this whole path of love and loving in people. Matt, I was going to say all the top people that we've ever interviewed and all the time, 7 years of us doing podcasting and recording and sharing people's stories. That is a common theme of people that have sustainable long-term businesses is they find that place in there where they pour their heart into their people. And it's not just about the transaction. It is about taking care of these people. The minute you start talking about your safe space we've created for people that are going through short sales, that is a amazingly embarrassing, difficult, testing every bit of who you thought you were moment. And to have somebody that says it's going to be okay and we got you, like that's the stuff that builds sustainable long-term businesses. It's not looking for the next transaction. Mm-hmm. So I do want to transition here. That moment, so you take a year off, you get time to rest. And at what point here did you and Kevin sit back and say, we need to come up with intentional getaways, intentional time to go and make sure that we're living this life. We know how to work. We know how to do business. We know how to create business, but taking care of ourselves. What did that look like?
Yeah, it had actually started a long time before that. When we were young, in our early 30s, Kevin was a contractor. I had just gotten my real estate license, and we were on staff at our church. So getting away for any extended period of time was near impossible for us. And I mean, you guys know how uptight I am anyway. So for me to step away from all that was really challenging. And so we realized, okay, maybe we're not at a place in our life where we can get on this, go for 2 or 3 weeks like everyone else seemed to be able to do. But we had to refuel because our little bucket got empty, right? So we had to refuel. And so we just started finding 24 to 48 hours where we could get away, unplug, and all of that. But admittedly, because of how uptight I am, it would take me almost 24 to 48 hours to unwind. And it was time to come home. And then I would cry all the way home because I hadn't really unwound yet. I mean, it was just like this whole thing. And so we really did. And this was, again, back in our 30s. We just thought, we got to figure this out. And so we started kind of front loading it. So all the things I knew I needed to do to be able to relax, like laundry, change the sheets, this, that, and the other thing, I would start doing that days before the trip, and then get my little snack bag, get all the things I need to get away. I would get all that set, and then we would go, and we do this to this very day. In fact, we're doing it next Wednesday. We're going to go see the Goo Goo Dolls, and we're going to be gone for 24 hours. And it really will be a reset because we're easing out of here well, with the dishes done, the dog food made, the beds changed, all of those things that matter greatly to me. And then we'll get on the road with intentional, we don't have big conversations on these resets. We really bracket big talk. We bracket, I'm not going to talk about life insurance. I'm not going to talk about taxes. And we listen to music or we listen to a fun book. So it's very purposeful, very purposeful.
I love this, how you just said, like, I start preparing way in advance, because most people, they're like, I've got a vacation or I got some time coming up. We're going to get out of here. We're going to go see a concert in the city. We got 48 hours, 24 hours. And they just run like a freight train until that moment that they flick the switch and like, okay, we're all jumping in the car and we're all going. But then they're in the car and they're on their phone and they're doing other stuff and they're still engaged in this. So really, like, you wonder why it takes somebody, like, they're like, I really need a week to fully, like, let go. Like, you've been putting the pieces together here already to be able to be on that 24 hours and just be fully, that is that you've made it to the downtime. That's awesome.
It's very intentional. I mean, if I'm stressed out and, running out the door like this, I'm the devil. I mean, you do not, I know you think I'm sweet, but I'm a witch when I'm stressed out. And I mean, no one needs that, especially that poor man who loves me. He doesn't deserve that, and he's no picnic either when he's stressed out. So we have to enter it with full agreement that we're going to be nice, that we're going to be calm. And for me to do that, I got to have all this other stuff done on the backside.
Well, so I want to talk about the setup of intention here, because, we use the word intention all the time and people say, well, you got to be intentional about your business. You got to be intentional about this. And you have some rules here that are set, like this one, no big conversations. Like, I love that rule and I love that intention. I also know how many people are like, yeah, we do that too. But then someone says something, or we didn't get a chance to do this, so we got this time in the car. We might as well talk about X, Y, and Z. So do you have a regular routine with Kevin or yourself that can handle some of the, administrative life stuff so that you can be then intentionally away from that? Give me a little bit of info about the structure of this that allows you to kind of get free.
Sure. Yeah, no, there is a structure to it. It used to be I would come in and I'd want to talk about, I like to talk about big things, and Kevin doesn't. Kevin likes to, pat me and be sweet, and I'm intense. And so he used to, I would walk in the door and he'd go like this. No talk about work, no talk about anything big. And that would hurt my feelings, and then it'd be this whole thing. So what we've agreed to do, now bear in mind, Kevin and I have been married since we were 20 years old. So we are celebrating anniversary number 43 on 9/11. So we were on 9/11 before it was 9/11. So we know how to do this, Matt. And so for us, we even have like a rule. We try not to have big conversations downstairs even, because downstairs is like the safe space. It's the happy place. Upstairs is where we run businesses from up here. And so a lot of times if we're going to have a big conversation, and they do have to be had, we are running, 2 businesses, a life, a dog, all of the things that everyone else is. And so, but we intentionally do it upstairs. We try to schedule it during work hours if we can, and put some real boundaries around it so that intensity doesn't bleed into every other pocket of our life. And it's boundary work for sure, probably especially more for me because I admittedly am the uptight one in our relationship.
I particularly like the environment rule, and I think that's something that a lot of people can take away, and I think even deploy into their own business when they're working with clients. A lot of times we have no boundary around our environment. We're going to work on vacation. We're going to work in our car. We're going to work at the dinner table. We're going to have those conversations with our spouse and all those venues as well. Whereas setting that environment, I really like that. I'm gonna start working on my own environmental rules around this.
It's really good. Kevin Restine is really good at it. Even as recently as last night, he has a transaction, kind of skidding around. And we were watching TV on the couch. We're all kicked back and his phone starts blowing up. And he said, hey, watch whatever you want. I'm going to go upstairs to work on this. So we really keep that separation. If he's just sending a quick text, he'll do it. But if it's more than that, where his attention is really required, he goes upstairs because it's work. And we really try to keep it separate. Having a 2-story house helps, I think.
When you look at like a working relationship, setting these boundaries, Matt, as you were just saying, but setting these standards, we just did a whole episode on like set the stage up front of what people can expect from you. And I think that's something that you and Kevin have done. Can I call him Kevy?
Kevy.
You said Kevy.
Yeah, Kevy, Casey, Kevin Restine.
But you and Kevin, you've done a great job of setting the stage of saying this is what we can expect from each other, and this is how we're going to handle these certain situations. And I think it's a testament to how long you guys have been married and the relationship that I've watched both of you have. And I think that it's something that I think every relationship could strive to be better at. And some people actually not strive to be better at. They need to set those boundaries. They need to set those standards, because otherwise it bleeds into everything. And here you are supposed to be enjoying a kid's birthday party, and we're having side conversations about the things that we need to be figuring out right now in our bigger world. It's like, it's not the time.
Yeah. Right. But it is so important that in that we also have to schedule the time, right? So this isn't the time, but it's still necessary. So the flip side of that is you've got to go back and make the time for it and schedule it as a priority.
The answer that you had of like Kevin walking in and going, no, we're not, like, no, we're not talking about it. Like, for someone that needs to talk, I'm a talker in our household. We know between myself and my daughter Jocelyn, Sarah's constantly managing people just talking and processing all the time.
That woman is a saint.
Is that because she puts up with me? Is that what I hear what you're saying, Tona. I hear.
She puts up with me too.
Oh my goodness. So, but if I walked in, she's never done it where I would walk in and she goes, no. Not right now. Now, she will put notes on her door saying, do not open this door. We all know that in the household. That's basically her saying, like, no. But knowing what those boundaries are, knowing what I know that's when she needs her space, and we can't bother her. And my kids know that also. My son has figured out there's another door into her office, which I think that's he can get away with stuff I can't. But setting those boundaries, setting those expectations, that is part of what makes a very healthy relationship. And at home or in business, works all across the board. With your kids, works across the board.
Yeah, agreed.
So let's go into this reset, right? So we got the intention part, which these rules are great. Environment, timing. I'm going to add tools in there too. I'm sure there's things that you have to bring with you if you're going to have these intentional conversations. And so now going the other way, like resetting and the strategy behind that. You've obviously experienced a lot of big things in your life, and just in the last decade, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
And how do we start with this reset? How do we even know that we need a reset? Like, what are the indicators for someone to say, because there could be challenges like, I just need to push harder to push through this, when it could be a little quick reset might help you push harder. So how do we even know?
Yeah. No, I think that's really good. I think first of all, because you really have to be in tune with yourself, so I know the indicators for me if I'm kind of snappy. Even I get snappy with the dog sometimes, and I love that dog, right? So if you're feeling a little sharp, a little spicy and snappy, for me, that's an indicator. If it's been too long, if I look at the calendar and I'm like, my gosh, when did we get away last? That's important. Kevin, who is more laid back than he looks at what concert does he want to see and when are they coming, and that's kind of where he goes. And a lot of times I just follow him around, because he knows how to have fun better than I do. And so that's sort of how we know. We typically, for us, it's kind of follows some quarterly pattern where about, at least 4 or 5 times a year we're getting away, and we're not going on, like I said, these aren't big trips. These are little jaunts. Like, we live about 45 minutes from this beautiful shopping area in Austin, and at least at least twice a year. That's where we go. And it's really not even out of town, but we've got a setup that works. We've got a hotel we love with, for us, we love shopping. We love just being able to park the car and then walk. We love a good hotel bar. Kevin loves a good steakhouse. So we kind of know what works for us. And putting ourselves in that environment really lends itself to that fast relaxation. And if you've only got 25, 26 hours, you want to be able to relax quickly, right?
And one thing I think is about this is you said knowing who you are, being self-worth, that as you kind of described this, and I know you and Kevin as like, you're not the same people. You guys need different things. You need different stuff. As you said, he brings the fun in a lot of the times, and you need the walk away time to kind of regroup and figure that out and kind of lighten up a little bit. And I think knowing that about yourself and knowing that he needs the steakhouse and knowing that, these things and working together, it all goes back to healthy relationships, and health is knowing the people you're with and around and celebrating them just as much as they're celebrating you is what makes incredible relationships.
It does. And the thing that's been most important about this for us, for sure, the relaxation is critically important, but equally important, it reminds us that we're pals. Right? And as we move through the world and move through life and health and aging parents and, all the things that people in their 60s are dealing with, it's critically important for us to remember that we're pals first. And we always have been. And these getaways remind us of that. Right?
I like that. Remind that you're pals.
We're pals. We are best pals. Not just pals. We're best pals.
Okay, so we got the indicators, planning for fast relaxation. I like that. I mean, I think a lot of people don't think about escaping in close proximity, a staycation, if you will.
It's so fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Or even just finding that place that you can have where you have the plan. Like I even think like if we could just plan a day at the beach. Right? Just go down we don't even have to stay overnight anymore. Just go to the beach.
Exactly.
There's a different energy that's there. It like by default pulls you away from devices. And so you can just have that plan and you have to deploy it by using the indicators. Okay. So we have the indicators, we have kind of a plan. And now what does reset truly look like? What do we want what is the definition of done with reset? How do we know that the reset has happened?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, probably, Matt, I would believe it's done because I say it's done. I mean, I really operate from that place of intention that for me, and I'm not saying for Kevin could stay gone a lot longer than I could, to be honest with you.
So do you and he kind of like converse about that so that, because if you're both experiencing this reset together, you're like, cool, I'm good. And he's like, hold on. I got more to do. I got more steaks to chew on before we head back home here.
Yeah, a little bit. That does happen. Actually, this thing with the Goo Goo Dolls, he said, oh, Lord, probably 4 months ago, he said, hey, the Goo Goo Dolls are coming to Arlington or Dallas or somewhere. We're going. I'm like, let's go. Well, what he failed to tell me is it's on a Wednesday night. Oh, that made my head explode. So I had to really work through that because I've got 2 days now of coaching calls to move around. And so it's a whole thing. And he respects that. And he probably, in his excitement to see the Goo Goo Dolls, didn't really look at the dates other than sometime in July. And so he probably could go, like if it's a Wednesday, his preference would be, shoot, let's go ahead and stay till Saturday or so. Well, not this gal. So he's drawing what he wants back a little bit because he knows for me to get away on a Wednesday big.
This goes back to working together with your partner. This is like you understand he's got the importance and the love of wanting to get to that concert, and you can hear the little kid coming out of him in his voice. And then it's knowing that this is not going to be a Wednesday through Sunday getaway and back to work on Monday. Like this is that's Yeah. I mean, again, this is just working together.
It's
Working
just,
together.
that's it. It's really compromising. I need to get back home by Friday because now I've got 2 days worth of calls I got to put into Friday. So, and he gets that on every level. So it's compromising. And because we know we're only going to be gone, we're walking out the door probably 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock on Wednesday, and we know we're going to get up Thursday morning, have a nice lunch, maybe, or breakfast, maybe a nice little walk around, and then we're going to get back on the road. We know we've got to be prepared for it. We know we've got to be focused on relaxing because we really do have only about, 25 hours, right? And so it's very intentional. It is, we know what we like. So when it's a short trip like this, we know we're going to find a hotel with a nice ambiance. We kind of like a nice hotel. We kind of like a nice hotel bar. I want to be sure the room can get really dark because I actually take a nap on these trips, which is like unthinkable. I wouldn't dream of it at home, but I almost always find myself taking a nap, and I got to have the room really dark.
Well, you got to stay up late and party, Tona. I know how you are. You're like, if I gotta get my rest in because we're going all night. Right? We're gonna party. We're gonna be out on the town. We got the great bar. We got steakhouses. We got things to see.
That is right. Yeah. If you ever see a picture of me drinking an espresso martini, that's like a blinking light that I'm staying up late. Yeah.
Well, I want to, circling back on all of this, Matt, again, in Jen Fiddler, who's a friend of all of ours, a fellow coach that we all will love and respect. Her and her husband, Grayson, they do they're masters of doing this. So everything you're talking about right now, I keep thinking about the amount of times that I've coached Jen for years. I've worked alongside her for years. And the amount of times I'll call her and she's like, oh, we're in Bend, or we're in Mexico, or we've just traveled over here for the weekend. I just talked to them. I think they were up in Montana or something. Just for the, couple days, just running away, getting up there, and then running back down. And they can operate at a really high level, both of them, because of these quick little getaways that they've always got kind of going on. I think they're very overlooked. I think everybody's always searching for the 12, the 2-week trip. They're always searching for the big adventure going, I'm going to work hard until I get this big adventure that's going to come up. And sometimes we need to step back and say, okay, big adventures are amazing and we want to plan them in. We want to have them part of our world, but maybe that's not the thing that's going to keep us running at our highest level and not want to bite the head off of our spouse because we've pushed ourselves just a little bit too far.
Absolutely. I mean, I do think these little getaways, these even staycations, if you will, they give us that shot in the arm that we need because our work is people intensive and it really is. It's lovely work, but I don't think it's easy work, right? And so we've really got to take the time to disconnect fully. And Kevin and I are even, kind of fans of doing individual things. Like he's getting ready, probably in August or September. He loves museums, and I mean, we really are polar opposites. He and I. He's going down to Austin, staying at the Driscoll down there, and he's going to go to the Capitol, tour the Capitol. I mean, I'd rather eat a bug than do that. And yet he's so excited. And so while he's gone doing that, I mean, I'm going to get the dog, open a nice bottle of wine and order a pizza and be in my pajamas by 6 p.m. And I can't wait for that. Even that's a reset of its own.
But it's coming. I think that's the big part of it is it's not like all of a sudden you're grabbing the bottle of wine and the pizza and the pajamas because you're like, oh, I have to be here by myself. You know it's coming.
Yeah, you know it's coming. My favorite emotion is anticipation, right? So we're thinking about it. We're talking about it already, even though it's still a month or so away. So we're building the excitement, building the anticipation to it, which makes it seem special and fun. And
This is almost like, I don't want to get into like neuroscience or anything like that, but you just like unlock something of, if you can control your dopamine levels by structuring anticipation, because that's when dopamine increases the highest. A lot of people think dopamine, floods in when you achieve something. Yes, you do get a bump, but it is like all of it and it's gone, right?
Yeah.
Whereas anticipation, you get to like work that slow release dopamine pill.
That is right.
And it just goes and goes and goes. And that can help block off all of, the negative energy chemicals, right? And so you actually figure out how to way to chemically alter your energy sustainably by building in this anticipation. So I want to just ask you, so you work with real estate agents. You obviously were a fantastic agent for many, many, many years. So it makes sense on how you do this with a spouse. How do you do this with clients who you feel like are always demanding of your time? How do we create this anticipation where then you'll get away versus the anticipation of, I can't wait for my bottle of wine and my pizza and my lovely clients and my cell phone that's going to be sitting right by my side the entire time while I'm trying to relax?
Yeah. Well, again, it's boundaries, it's setting expectations. It is, okay, let's just use Gretchen Adams' favorite words, modeled behavior, right? I coach my clients toward this. So they're hearing from me all the time. Well, wait, where's the boundary there for you, right? You're taking calls from clients. How late? Right? So we're modeling this. So I really don't have late client calls or even text very often. I mean, on a rare occasion, I will, and my clients know me well enough that if they're texting me late, chances are I need to run upstairs and talk to him. And they don't abuse it. It doesn't happen very often. But I love these people, and I want them to call me when the chips are down, but they don't abuse it. They just don't.
It's interesting when you set the stage correctly. What I have found is that the conversations are different. They know what they can reach out to me for at certain times, and I will totally respect sitting on the couch at 9 o'clock at night and bantering and sending jokes back and forth and sitting there laughing, crying because I've got that. So it's not like the client is like, oh, no. After this time, I will never talk to you. It's just, no. We're just not talking about business and about this stuff at these times. And I think these go back to these standards that we set that allow us to build really amazing relationships with people, because it's not an on-off switch. I only want you in my life when it's something I'm getting paid for. It is an incredible relationship we're building, and then we just respect each other when it's time to work and when it's time to walk away. I think it's a really important boundary.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, I tell my client from the day they decide to move forward, I say, you've got a coach, lean into it, take advantage of it. And I really do mean it. I just have not had an experience where they abuse it. They really don't. Yeah.
Well, there's so many themes here, Tona, that throughout that anybody can take and obviously apply to their personal world, which I would say is the first place people. These are notes for me too, by the way. I'm going to have a conversation with Jen later on and be like, well, I just had a conversation with Tona and we got some work to do. But even into business, right? Communication, setting expectations, setting boundaries, planning far ahead. So often do I see real estate agents never plan ahead with their clients, and then also keeping the positive energy light on there, because I think one of the best ways to set boundaries is early on when you're working with clients, letting them know, hey, this is going to be awesome. We're going to find you the home. We're going to get your home sold. Everything's going to work out. It's going to be wonderful. And you set that early. So then when the boundary's there, they're not like, you know what, but Tona told me that we got this. Like, I know we're going to be good. And that is one of the biggest things that I want people to take away is like all of this put together is these habits we talk about all the time, and you just deploying them in this way of positive energy and light and love. So I appreciate this entire strategy. What are we missing from this strategy? Are there other things that we need to insert in here to make sure we have the complete package here?
Yeah. For me, the only other thing I would add, I really do like to get back home in time to have a pretty peaceful re-entry. that matters to me. I don't like to get home like at 11 o'clock Sunday night if we can help it, right? So I really do. We try to build a buffer zone on the back end too, so that there's kind of a really gentle re-entry period. We kind of think about, Kevin and I are both foodies, and so we kind of think, okay, what are we gonna have for dinner when we get home? And we start talking about that on the drive. Are we gonna order in, or you want to cook a little something? And we just ease in to getting back to it, and that's very helpful for me because I really sound like a big dud, right? I really do. I don't transition really well. And so I have to be purposeful about it. And so we build some space in there for me to transition. Good night.
Well, what's important about the transition time of coming out of this is, I mean, I've traveled a lot, and I've traveled a lot with piles of kids going with us, and a lot of times it is us coming back at 11:30 at night or driving in at midnight or 1 a.m. going, okay, like we had this amazing trip and we're back. And it took me a while to look. I didn't realize the pattern that was happening, but I would come back doing a late drive, 2-hour drive back to the house, getting in at 1 a.m, and that lack of sleep and that push of driving and just trying to keep myself awake and alert to make sure my family's safe as we get back, I was ruined for that lack of sleep, or that disruption of sleep, like would linger with me, that my re-entry was horrible. And I sit here thinking about it going like, what if I went back and did it where we just said, look, we're going to be getting back at 6 o'clock. That's where we're planning. If we need to plan an extra day so we can be back here at 6 o'clock, so we can have dinner as a family, sit back, everybody gets settled and relaxed. We get a great night's sleep. We got a great getaway, and our re-entry allowed us to make the most of re-entering this space that we're in. So many people I know listening right now are like, that's why my vacation seems to like feel like I need a vacation from my vacation. I hands down think that's the reason right there.
Too. And you know, it can't sometimes, especially if you're navigating kids, you got to get in at 11 or 12. That's just how it goes. But when you've got the ability to control it so that it's peaceful.
The nuance of it too, having like, instead of just, I mean, a lot of people leave for vacation, or they just start something on a project or whatever by leaving a mess behind. And then they come back to the mess, versus let me set this up so that I come back to cleanliness. And then also you said something with like the food and everything. It's like, bring a little bit of vacation back with you. Maybe we are going to order that pizza ahead of time when we get back. Or it's like, you know, if we are going to get back at midnight, we're not going to, you know, we're going to take our time getting in the house. We're not going to stress. It's going to be okay if we get in bed by 1, and we're going to make sure we have time the next day to sleep in a little, or whatever it is, right?
Exactly right.
Planning that. I love the peaceful reentry. That's another thing that's going on my,
that's in my
checklist
notes.
here.
Yeah, no, it's really helpful because, you know, we all do have to usually get up and get to work the next morning, and we want to be able to show up well for work time too. I mean, our clients deserve that. I really do think that, you know, I want to show up with a certain energy and with a certain, you know, connectedness. And if I'm dragging in, I have a harder time doing that. And that's not fair to anybody.
100%. Man, this is great. I love this framework, this strategy, and I think everyone probably needs to take a breath and think, I mean, this perfect time. Like we're releasing this in the middle of summer. You know, if you haven't had that summer reset, you know, follow this strategy that Tona, you just beautifully laid out so that you can get a little reset before kids are back in school, before you get running again. And it's now next summer and you're like, I wish we got some time last year. It's like, take it now. Take it now.
So good. And if you're parents, if there's a way to do it with one child at a time, that'd be that's great. Magic. That is magic for kids. And it makes such a difference. And that doesn't have to be a big 2-day thing. That really could be grabbing one of the girls and taking her on a date. Game changer, especially for dads with girls. Yeah.
Well, I will say that is older as they get older. So I've got my girls now are 21. I find my one-on-one times when I get to go on just maybe it's a one-day getaway, maybe if it's in a dinner with them and have that time, it's so incredibly special. So
It's
amazing.
everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Tona, this has been incredible. This has been incredible. Like you literally, like I was excited to have this episode with you, and the whole time I'm sitting here going, like, this is such a special episode. How you approach life, how you approach your relationship with Kevy. I can't help it. It's awesome, and it bleeds over into your business and who you are and what you're all about. And I'm grateful to have you as a friend in my world.
Thank you. Right back to you guys. You guys believed in me before I believed in myself in this arena. And I could call you at any time, and I know that, and that really matters to me. And I'm proud of you. You guys are doing such good work. I mean it. I'm in the background all the time checking out what you're doing. We share coaching clients, which I love so much. It's this true spirit of friendship, not competition. And you guys, I'm proud of what you've done. Our industry needs your voice, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tona.
So much.
Appreciate that. And same right back at you as well. We love you a ton. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who know who you are, but also a lot who don't and are like, man, I want more Tona in my world. So how do they get more Tona into the world? Where do they got to go to find you?
Gosh, well, I am on social media every day. I do a daily thought blog and Facebook, Instagram, and it's just my name, Tona Restine, or my company name, Life Imagined. And I'm on, all those social platforms every single day. My word of the year this year was strategic expansion. And so I've expanded into some writing work. I do a lot of motivational speaking too. And so my website is just lifeimagined.info. And you can find me. I'm all around. Yeah.
Perfect. Lifeimagine.info, guys. Go check it out. Tona shares wonderful stuff all the time. Things that'll make you laugh, things that'll make you cry, things that'll make you think. It's always something. I always come away from a Tona post going, I feel better today. Or I learned something today. I don't feel a lot better, but I learned something that's going to make me feel better because I had an honest conversation I needed to have. So I appreciate everything you put out there, Tona.
I've called Tona after she's made a post going, I needed to hear that today. Like that was what I needed to hear. So thank you for posting that.
Thank you. Well, it gives me a great opportunity to write, and I need to write. I've been kind of a writer since I was a little girl. And so I've just started this monthly newsletter called The Stepping Stone, a monthly dose of mindfulness. And it's all about just living with purposeful, mindful intention. And I'm having so much fun with it. So that's out there. You can check that out too. It's sort of a new baby project that
this might be a challenge too, Tona, but we'll have you back on to promote the release of your book. That's going to be coming out.
Some sweet day. Yeah. I really do believe that. Yeah.
Well, I know it's going to happen. Probably going to happen sooner than we all think because you got some great things to say, great things to share, and you do have this gift of writing. So looking forward to your book coming soon. Guys, go find Tona at lifeimagine.info and keep telling her that you cannot wait for her book to come out because it is going to be
Thank you.
incredible.
You guys are the best.
Gosh, Tona, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Garrett, anything else before we send everybody on their way to just live inspired today?
I think we can put a bow on this one. Tona, thank you. Thank you to everybody who's tuning into this, paying attention. If you found value in what you heard today, please share this with your office, share with your friends. This is not real estate related, and I want everybody to really own that. This is not a real estate thing. This is something that I think your kids should hear. This is something that your spouses should hear. This is, So yeah, I would just end with that. Thank you, Tona. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you,
I love it.
guys.
Well, thank you, Tona. Guys, get out there and live your life imagined. And if you'd like to learn more about what we're doing inside Life at 10 Tenths, get bonus content, go download our app or go to lifeat10tenths.com. We have a little inside track membership where you get mindset videos and all these little things to help you get tuned up for your day. And Garrett and I love that little inside track. So definitely go and check that out. And if there's anything else we can do for you, just reach out to us. We are here to support you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us and this podcast. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you guys on the next one.